Let's move on to main topic number 3, shall we? And our third main topic today gets submitted to us by Kyle Blasberg. And Kyle Blasberg writes, "Hey, John, like you, I absolutely loved the Batman trailer. With the very dark, gritty tone to the trailer, and Warner Brothers clearly having shown a willingness to do rated R comic book films with Joker and Birds of Prey, what do you think the chances are that this new Matt Reeves Batman film will be indeed rated R?" All right, thanks a lot for saying that in, Kyle. And yeah, probably the number one question I've had since DC Fandom, Rob, besides what did you think of the Batman trailer, has been, do you think the Batman will be rated R? Right? And this has come in on chats. This has come in the email submissions. This has come in all the time. A lot of people are asking, what are the chances of this thing being R? The first thing I would say is, and I touched on this the other day, a lot of people saw that one glorious moment in the trailer where Batman is just wrecking that fool, right? And people are looking at that and saying, oh, well, that's going to be rated R. I'm like, really? But Batman's punching a guy in the face. That's rated R? And we don't even see the guy getting punched in the face. That's not rated R. I mean, I've seen much more brutal stuff, Rob, on the Hannibal television show. I saw way more brutal stuff on the Hannibal television show, not rated R. So I don't really think about that. But still, there is that question. Is this something that we can look at right now? Is this something that could actually be a thing in this moment that we're in? And you know what? While I personally think there is no need for this Batman movie to be rated R, none. While I don't feel like there's personally any need for this to be an R-rated thing, there is some legitimate arguments to be made about why it could end up being rated R and why it might not be that bad of an idea. So let's go over here and take a look at this. The first thing I want to look at as a pro to the idea of Batman being rated R is Joker. I mean, just look at Joker, Rob. They put out Joker R-rated last year, and what was the results for them? Not only was Joker a $1 billion film, it was nominated for Best Picture at the Academy Awards, only the second comic book movie in history to do so, and it won one of the top prizes at the Academy Awards with Joaquin Phoenix winning Best Actor for his portrayal. So that's got to be seen as an absolute pro as to why legitimately Warner Brothers may be looking at it. Another thing is this. Doing R-rated stuff. Now, look, I'm a big fan of the MCU, a big fan of what DC has done and all that kind of stuff, and I just want a good movie out of each. I don't care how they compare, whatever. But, if you want to do certain things to, differentiate yourselves from what the other guy is doing, the R-rated material is one of those things. Because you know what the MCU is not doing, Rob? They ain't doing R-rated material. Deadpool's up in the air, but I still don't think they're going to do Deadpool rated R. But we'll see there. But it's another thing. That is a good, solid argument to be made for why we could possibly see them do Batman rated R. Another pro I want to throw out there. Not only does it differentiate and make itself unique from the MCU, doing this Batman as rated R would differentiate it and make it unique from any other Batman movie we've seen. Rob, I've talked on this show recently about how, whenever you do a Joker or a Batman per se, the first thing that the filmmakers do is, how do we make sure this, at its core, this is clearly the Joker or clearly the Batman, yet a totally different Batman or Joker than you've ever seen on screen before. Still essentially Batman or Joker, but still unique and different from any iteration we've seen. Doing an R-rated Batman movie would be not only something to distinct yourself from the MCU, but also from the other Batman movie. Now, that being said, I do think there are a couple of cons to take into consideration here. If we're going to talk the Joker as a pro, look what you can do with an R-rated comic book movie, Rob. Well, then you got to look at Birds of Prey. You got to look at Birds of Prey, which was, what did that movie make? 200 million worldwide? If they're lucky.
Maybe.
Didn't do great. So if you're going to point at Joker, you got to point at Birds of Prey. Also, there could be the consideration that it's too unlike Batman, because that's kind of tied into the next one. The source material is basically PG-13. I remember when we did an episode of Heroes and John Schnepp talked about this a lot. He said, look, if you know the Batman source material, if you know the true essence of the comics are PG-13. They really are, Schnepp would say. So not only would it be so unlike Batman, it would really be a departure from the source material as well. So that's one thing. Also, look at The Dark Knight. The Dark Knight was considered by some like maybe one of the darkest comic book movies ever made. It was truly dark. It was truly gritty. And guess what? It was PG-13. Now, also, if you want to look at Matt Reeves, I mean, he did his War for the Planet of the Apes, which is quite gritty, kind of dark, apocalyptic in many ways. And he managed to do that PG-13. I think there's a lot of strong arguments to be made here. Now, again, I personally fall on the side of there is no need at all for Matt Reeves as the Batman to be rated R, to be as good as it can be. I don't need tits and F-bombs dropped in my Batman movie to make it a better Batman movie. I don't think that makes it a better Batman movie. I thought the tone of Matt Reeves' trailer was PG-13. I thought you could do this dark, gritty thing as a PG-13 thing. I think it would be fine. But even though I take that position myself, I acknowledge there are some strong arguments between Joker, something to differentiate yourself from the other films. And hey, by the way, you know what? Let me throw in one more pro. Let's throw this in here. No strings. I could just see Matt Reeves going, there are no strings on me. Just tell Matt Reeves, you know what? Do whatever the F you want, Matt. Now, Matt's he's had that right, and he's made his films PG-13, but they could go to Matt Reeves and say, you know what? You want Batman and Gordon to show up at a murder scene, and there's naked, mutilated bodies all over the place? If that's what you want to do, that's what you want to do. So, Rob, I fall on one side personally, but I think there are strong arguments for and against the idea of Matt Reeves' Batman being rated R. What do I think they're going to do? I think they're going to go PG-13. What do I think they should do? I think they should do PG-13. But those can be two different things. Rob, what do you think about, I guess, my reasoning for what are pros for going rated R, what are cons for going rated R, and what other ones would you add? And what do you think Warner Brothers is ultimately going to do?
Well, to be honest, I was pretty surprised by the tone of that trailer. And, Batman, again, the fight scene, the beatdown scene, that was pretty extreme. And if you're a kid, like, I wouldn't want my 8-year-old, if I had an 8-year-old, to see something that's that violent. Because one of the things, like even the Christopher Nolan Batman movies, like if you watch The Dark Knight, Joker is machine gunning down dudes in that bank heist in the beginning of the movie. There's no blood squibs. And that consciously, if there were blood squibs, it would have made those sequences a lot more violent. And if you look at the Nolan films, you don't see blood. There's no blood squibs when people get shot or anything like that, because that lessens the impact of the actual violence. So tonally, sometimes things are just tonally R-rated. It's the way they make you feel. And this Batman movie, at least from this trailer, looked pretty not kid-friendly. Let's put it that way. So I would say the Batman character in general is, like you said, a PG-13 character. The Joker is a homicidal maniac. So I think it's okay. You can get away with making an R-rated Joker movie. I think they're going to have a much more difficult time getting away with an R-rated Batman, even though they may have no choice. I think they've told Matt Reeves to go make the movie that he wanted to make. But, he made the Planet of the Apes movies aren't exactly a walk in the park. And kids like Planet of the Apes. And those films were pretty heady, and they dealt with some pretty difficult subject matter. So Matt Reeves can go dark and still not go R. I probably, if I had to make a guess, I would say these movies are going to be PG-13, skirting the edge of R. But it's because of the expectation in the marketplace of what a Batman movie is. How is a parent going to be like, Mom, I need to go see the Batman? No, you can't see that. It's rated R. But Mom, Batman's my favorite character. I don't think Warner Brothers wants a revolt of every, under 10 child in the world when they want to go see a Batman movie. So I think it's going to be PG-13, but I think it's going to be unlike any Batman movie we've seen before.
Yeah, I agree. And I think we got that sense from the trailer. Again, I've just personally I'm not saying there's not a good argument. I just haven't yet heard the argument how making it R would fundamentally make this movie better. And
yeah,
especially when you look at what they're able to get away with a PG-13. But
John, would Return of the Jedi be better if it was rated R? Would Back to the Future be better if it was rated R? Jaws was rated PG. I mean, I don't think a rating necessarily matters. I think what matters is the story and the characters true to itself. And sometimes going dark for being dark's sake is not exactly the best way to go.
Right. But are you, after seeing this trailer, are you going to be surprised at all if we find out in like 3 months that the Batman's going to get an R rating? Are you going to be surprised? No. Yeah, so no. I agree. I'm not going to be surprised either, because I think there is some significant stuff there. But I do think, if I had to put a dollar on it, I think they're going to be going PG-13. And guys, I wanted to know what you guys thought about this. What do you think about the idea about possibly, potentially, maybe the Batman movie getting an R rating? So I decided to make that the topic of today's question of the day. And the question of the day, I simply put this in the community tab of the YouTube channel. Make sure you guys are subscribed to the YouTube channel so you can get notifications of the community postings as well. Go ahead, take a second, go click on that subscribe button. But the question of the day today was simply this. The Batman trailer was certainly gritty. Do you think the movie should be rated R, like Joker, or PG-13, like The Dark Knight? We discussed this today. I put this up just before the show started. Almost 6,000 of you guys have casted votes already. Right now, 62% of you are saying, so a significant margin, are saying that you think the movie should be rated R. 38% of you are saying it should be rated PG-13. That's where our poll is at right now. I'm going to leave this poll up for you guys to continue to vote on for the rest of the day if you wish. So going over, once again, it's just in the community tab of the channel. All right, guys.